Hi, welcome to Danette Gets Creative. I'm Danette, and today I'm going to show you how to make this cute little stocking. First, you're going to need some felt. You can see that I grabbed this 12-pack of felt from Dollarama. It's got some great colors inside. I'm going to choose the white. I found a pattern online. I printed it, and I traced it onto a harder piece of cardboard, and I'm tracing around it. I didn't quite get the top traced there, so I had to go back and do the top. You'll notice that I'm going to make a second one. One will be the base fabric that I'm going to build on, and one will be the back. Finished tracing the two stockings, and now I'm going to grab my fabric scissors and cut them out. We will use one to build on and one we will set aside for later. Okay, now let's the fun begin. Go ahead and choose the colors that you want to lay down and the patterns that you want. I chose some Christmas patterns. I chose some neutral patterns, a lot of them in the burgundy colors. You're going to notice that I just start ripping and tearing and cutting and placing down pieces of fabric where I like them. You're going to notice in a little bit that I end up using a glue stick to temporarily stick them down. The project is so tiny that I didn't want to use pins because I'd end up poking myself. So I continue to play around with my fabrics, moving them in different directions, placing them in different spots until I'm happy with them. Once all the fabrics are secured and in place, I'm going to take my scissors and flip it over and trim off the excess so I can see the stocking shape. Now I'm going to grab some red sewing machine cotton and I'm going to start stitching the pieces in place. I'm going to continue to do what I've done before, which is the running stitch, which is just the up and down stitch all over the stocking until it is completely stitched down. As you can see, I'm just continuing along here with the running stitch, just going up and down, up and down. Eventually you'll see that I switch directions, and I'm just trying to vary the stitches and the directions just to create some interest. Now you can see that all the stitches are done, and I'm just showing you that it is all secured down, and you can see on the back that I changed some of the directions as I mentioned earlier before. Now I've pulled out my trim box, and what I want to do is I want to place a trim down every spot where two materials meet. So wherever there's a seam, I want to create a decorative edge. Many of my trims are zigzag or rickrack. Some of my trims are decorative. Most of my trims I've got at thrift stores or the Dollarama. So now I'm just trying to edge those so that they have a pretty edge between them. I'm just temporarily pinning down the edging so that I can see what it looks like in place. I will later take my glue stick and stick it down, but for now I'm just sticking it into my wool mat to keep it secure. Here's a little close-up look as I bring the mat up to the camera to show you the trims. Because it's pinned to the mat, I was unable to pick the stocking up. But now you can see I glued down the pieces, the pins are gone, and now I'm going to stitch. I'm going to stitch down each of the trims one at a time, making sure they are secure. Now I'm going to stitch down the little yellow piece of rickrack, the little zigzag piece. And I watched someone on another video, and I can't remember who it was, and how they stitched it down, and they created little X's where the little zigzags were. And it looks quite cool when it's done. And here we go. It wouldn't be a video if I didn't pull out my buttons. I end up choosing 3 white buttons just to add a little more detail to the stocking. I sewed on 2, and now I'm just showing you how to sew on the last one. And here's a little look up close so you can see the stitches, you can see how the trims were placed on. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab the other stocking. I'm going to put them right side together. I just put a little clip at the top. Those pink clips are actually from Dollarama. Super handy. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to sew around the outside of the stocking, about 1/4 inch from the edge, and I'm going to go all the way around. Here's a little step you're not going to want to miss. You'll notice that I'm taking my scissors and I'm cutting tiny little slits into the curved edges. And by cutting these little slits, when you turn it right side out, it allows it to lay flat. What you don't want to do when you're doing those little stitches is you don't want to cut into your sewing stitch that you already have, or your stocking's going to come apart. If you didn't cut those edges, it wouldn't lay as flat as you can see here once I'm finished unrolling it. Okay, we're going to add some finishing touches. You can see that this is a fur ribbon that I got from Dollarama that I want to place at the top. So I'm going to cut it around the distance of the stocking. And it's quite thick for this stocking since it's so tiny. I end up cutting it in half and I place it around the top. You will see that I hold it on with those little clips to make sure I'm happy with what it looks like. I wasn't quite happy with that fur look. I think if I had had white, I would have been happier. So I dug into my lace trim and I placed a white lace on the top, and I'm much happier with the white lace. So I began stitching it on, just reaching from the front to the back, overlapping the edges so that it is secure. The lace is secure, and now I've just cut a tiny piece of ribbon so that I can add a little hook at the top. Because this is such a small stocking, it could hang on a tree or it could hang from a shelf or a hook, but I wanted to make sure I securely attached a hook. I've secured the hook, and now I just want to add some extra Christmas details. I bought these picks at Dollarama, the evergreen one and the berry one. I end up taking off of the price tags. I grab my little wire cutters and I cut some of the greenery and I place it in the stocking, and then I place the red berry pick as well. The final look at the finished stocking. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it inspired you to want to create your own. Thanks for watching. Bye.